Okay. Oh, no, no, no. Okay. Okay, I want to make sure that. Okay. 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 Awesome. Let me. Okay. I'm live. Great. Okay. Good. I'm live. Hopefully, everyone will be able to see and hear me. I have a better connection this time. Last week I was really choppy. But I'm talking about the untethered soul. Remember, I talked about it last week, how I was going to be talking about it every week, just reading through the book and just reflecting and sharing. Last week, I had a couple individuals that share with me how they're going to get the book and they're going to start reading it also. I was so happy because I'm just doing this because I'm on my own journey. But, when I had a couple people to tell me that they're going to get the book and they're going to read along too, that made me feel so much better. So let's go ahead and dive into this. I wasn't overly excited. I did 2 chapters. Um, I anticipated that once I started reading the book, that every paragraph was going to be an aha, I got you moment, but it wasn't. It's a rather dull reading, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue with the reading. But it didn't really hit me the way I anticipated that it would. Um, but it did give me some information that I can find that is very useful. But it just wasn't what I was expecting. But I'm going to continue because it's just the beginning of the book. It's just the first 2 chapters. So you can't expect too much from just the first 2 chapters of a book. The first chapter was the voices inside your head. Now, with that, I have a couple voices inside my head, but I'm not schizophrenic. It's not voices like that. This is something that everyone has. So don't judge me as if like, oh, she's cuckoo. No, I'm not cuckoo. Um, but it's just talking about how we do have the voices in our head and the conversations that actually develop from those voices. It's pretty interesting because I know I have a lot of conversations in my head, but to know that, this is pretty normal. This is exactly what everyone experiences. And it's really interesting how we respond to the voices, to the conversations that we develop in our own psyche. Um, and it was telling us that we are not those voices. So I didn't get that part. I'm assuming that the voices, that's just, different personality. I don't know. That sounds really schizophrenic. But it's just understanding that we're not necessarily those voices. And if you actually think that you're those voices, you're going to spend time with trying to find which voice is you, which means you're trying to find who you are. And that's exactly like what I'm on this journey to do. And it's not really a journey, it's just when you have, as women, we have so many layers or labels. Mom, like I said before, mom, I'm an educator, I'm a wife. And it's just, trying to peel back those layers just to get down to Sharice, basically. And with that, I just feel like sometimes the voices you're sifting through, I feel like I am sifting through those voices, with the second guessing yourself, because you always have a voice that tells you, okay, this is what you're going to do. Then you have a voice that says, don't do that. That's stupid. Don't. That's not something you want to do. You're going to make a big mistake if you do. And you have all of that stuff that you're filtering out. So, the book, the first chapter, it talked about that. And I annotated. I'm a type, I guess, because I'm a reading teacher. I love to write in my book. I love writing in books. That's why, I hope at school, CPS, let students keep those books, because I love writing in books. And that's what I do. I'm big on annotating and writing down my thoughts. Okay. But it was also saying that a lot of the chatter, the voices, it's a lot of irrelevant information. And for me, I can see that. I can see that it's irrelevant, but sometimes I feel like sometimes it can be your voice of reason. Like it can be your conscience almost. I don't know. That was just something that it didn't sit right with me, but hey, I'm not Michael Singer, so I maybe it's open to interpretation. I don't know, but it just didn't sit right with me, because with me, when I have those conversations, I feel like I'm trying to reason through certain situations or certain circumstances. But you know what? Like I said, maybe further down the line, I'll have a better understanding. Um, Also, that they talked about thoughts you will see, the vast majority of them is irrelevant. Um, Also, it says that those conversations that you have with yourself, it doesn't necessarily make you feel better or worse. And I found that to be true, because when I'm thinking and overthinking and overthinking and overthinking, once everything settles down, the situation hasn't changed. I'm not in a place where I'm like, okay, gosh, I feel so much better, or that just made everything worse. So I'm still like at a muted position, I guess you can call it. Um, it also said that sometimes those voices can can be like an alarm, building up energy inside to be released, like a huge alarm clock that will go off. And that's another thing, like when you have those conversations, when it says that it's irrelevant, I don't necessarily see it as being irrelevant if it's an alarm. Okay. Because an alarm can snap you out of certain type of thinking. And also, an alarm can be something that can alert you to danger. So, if something is alerting you to danger, I don't see how that's irrelevant. Again, I don't know. This is just the chapter one. Okay. Um, Also, what I notice is that how they talk about the voices, they keep going and talking and talking and talking. There's always conversations, there's always chatter. And I thought about that and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have baby Luna inside my head, because my grandbaby, she's nonstop talking and talking and talking. And that's what they say, that the voices, they're always talking, there's always a conversation. And then I thought about that with trying to calm down my thinking. using meditation. And meditation helps to calm the voices, to calm the conversations. It doesn't necessarily stop them because your brain is continuing to work nonstop. So the meditation helps to calm them. Um, I don't know. I didn't really, chapter one, the voices inside your head. It's a little deep. That's like a conversation you have to have with your therapist to get like a better understanding of that. I don't know. That's just me. That's I'm just reflecting on the few chapters that I read, the couple chapters that I read. Um, and it also says that we are the narrators of the world around us. The narration makes you feel more comfortable with the world around you, makes us feel as if we are more in control. And I know I have to be in control. I have to know what's ahead of me. I just can't move, like, okay, I'm going to go with the flow. Sometimes I can, but that's difficult. And that's how I know God be looking at me like, just do what I tell you to do. And I'm like, you know what, God, I'm going to do what you tell me to do. But first, you just got to show me a couple steps ahead, just to make sure that I know, that I know, what you're doing. And I know he looking at me like, and I can't help it. I just can't just, okay, let me dive. I can't. But that's something I'm working on. And now I'm knowing that the voice is not, look, I can just say, God, it's not me. It's the voices. It's the nonstop chatter that makes me feel like I need to control the situation. And I probably think, he's probably just looking at me like, no, it's not it. And I know it's not it, God, but I'm just saying, it's a reason, it's a reason. But we also have to consider that, I don't want to say human nature, but I guess it is human nature, having to know what's up ahead. I don't know. And it said, and I wrote a note, your mind is creating and experiencing your own reality. So basically, how we would process the experiences, our conscious is, wait, let's see what it says. Your consciousness is actually experiencing your mental model of reality, not reality itself. So I'm creating my own reality, but not necessarily the reality that's taking place in the world around me. So that is why we have to develop control, because we can control whatever reality that we create in our own mind. We can control that. We can say what's going to happen, how it's going to look, how it's going to play out. But in real world, we don't have any control over that. Life is going to happen regardless, and we have no control over that. So in a way, I get that part, because I can just, create scenarios where, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is how I'm picturing it. This is how I'm planning it. And it doesn't necessarily happen that way. But in my mind, I'm so fixated on that's how it's going to be, and it's going to be wonderful and great. But I've created that reality separate from the actual reality that I experience. So I guess, I don't know. So they call it, in the thought world, there's always something you can do to control the experience. Yeah. And I can definitely see that happening. There, basically, you recreate the outside world inside yourself. So I call this the inner verse, like creating an inner universe inside your head. So I guess that's what I'm calling it, the inner verse. It's basically inside your head. Also, to be aware that you are watching the voice talk is to stand on the threshold of a fantastic inner journey. So instead of participating with the conversations that, and it's just I don't know, it's just something about talking about the conversations. I don't know, but what they're saying is don't necessarily participate in the conversations, but just stand back and watch the conversations. And I guess that's what's my problem. I participate. Maybe I shouldn't be participating with the conversations, but that's what I do. I participate with the conversations. And I don't know, it's just something about it seems like it's just multiple personalities, but I don't have multiple personalities. Those are just the conversations, you know. Get the book and read so that you can have a better understanding, because this is me reflecting and reasoning through as I'm reading. That's that's all I'm doing. I'm just reflecting and reasoning through. Hopefully, you know, as the chapters go on, I'll become more interested. Um, but with chapter 2, it was pretty interesting. It talked about your inner roommate, and the bottom line is you'll never be free of problems until you are free from the part within that has many problems. So you're never free from the part within that has so many problems. So you'll never be free of problems. So there's always going to be, and I definitely can believe that. Just in life general. Once you think that, okay, I've crossed this hurdle, everything has been resolved, something else happens. And I don't know. That didn't sit well with me. It really didn't. You know, I know life isn't going to be perfect, but to know that there's always going to be issues and problems, I don't know. That was a little I'm not sure how I feel about that, because that's telling us that um there's never, well, I don't want to say never, but there's going to be some type of ongoing problems. No matter what you do well, there's always going to be a problem about it. Oh, okay, I miss you too, guys. I miss you too. Um, but there's always going to be something, and you think that, okay, I'm going to do ABC, XYZ because I want to prevent problems. But then with this, I'm reading this and it's saying you always going to have problems no matter what you do. No matter what you do well, you're going to have problems. And I can see that, I can understand it, but it's just, I don't want to say disappointing. Disappointing is the wrong word, but I don't know. I don't know about that. This is something that I would have to further dissect to get a better understanding. I don't know. Um, Also, it was talking about how we need to be more objective. And I know I'm an individual that I am very subjective. I, you know, react a lot. Um, my emotions, I tend to allow my emotions um, to get the best of me. And in the book, it's saying that we need to rely more on reason and just to be more objective. Look at the facts. And And definitely true, but when you are so close to a situation, it's difficult to be objective. You definitely become, you react or respond in a more subjective manner because you are a part of the situation, you're close to a situation. And it makes me think of like, if you've ever been to a doctor and you're having conversations and you're thinking like, wow, he's pretty cold. And it's not that they're being cold, it's that they have removed themselves from the situation in order to give a more professional, determined um, solution to whatever problem you're there, whatever diagnosis you have. Okay, this is how we're going to treat and take care of the situation. But if they were a part of it or related to you and close to you and giving you all of that sympathy and emotion, they wouldn't be able to make the decisions that they're making to take care of you. So I get that part. I definitely do. But in life, if you are actually in the mix of it, it's difficult to be objective. Sometimes, like if you're going to be objective, it can be sort of cold. And I don't know. I that's something it has to I have to think more. I have to delve more into that. Um, Also, what it talked about is the voices that can become a roommate. And what we should do is to find ourselves in a place of solitude and silence, which that sounds awesome, but actually, who has time for that? I don't. And I probably need to make time. Yeah, I need to make time. It's easy to say you never have time for this. Oh, I have to work. Antonio has, stuff that I have to do. He has games. It's so much that I can put in front of me to avoid the solitude and the silence. But what I'm definitely finding out with these two chapters, I need to get more into me as opposed to just throwing different, let me see. It's like I allow myself to be bombarded with a lot of responsibilities to avoid the solitude and silence. And so that's a conversation I would have to have with myself like, why am I avoiding that? Why is it something that's so necessary? But it's like, I want to make sure I have so much other stuff to do that I can avoid that. I don't know. Um, so yeah, the first couple of chapters, I'm I'm really it's growing on me. Okay. It's growing on me. But I'm gonna continue to read the book. But I just wanted to, you know, let you know that I am reading a book. It's definitely not a hard read, but it can be a little dull. Okay. Second chapter in a roommate's talking about relationships with ourselves. And that's real important, the relationship that we have with ourselves. Then we can get to relationships with others. But getting to know who's talking in your head, watching it play out, that's a whole process in and of itself. And developing the subjective and objective relationships. Yeah. So chapters 1 and 2 of The Untethered Soul was okay. I had a lot, it did give me a lot to think about, but it didn't necessarily, it wasn't like aha moments, but it did make me think. So hopefully next week, chapters 3, 4, and 5 will be a little bit more interesting. I'm hoping. I hope you join me next week as I continue my journey with the untethered soul. Also, I don't want to make sure you go to Amazon or lulu.com and purchase the Unicorn Mental Health Journal. It is an awesome journal that can help you manage your emotions, identify triggers. It's great for students. So make sure you go to Amazon and purchase the journal. I just had to put that in there. And see, that's my ADHD work. I'm going from Untethered Soul to the Unicorn Journal. See, it's the voices that say, don't forget that setting that off. But no, I'm going to keep reading. I'm not going to give up reading. But so far, Untethered Soul, but that's life. But thank you to everyone who tuned in to hear me rattle on and reflect on my journey to discovery of Sharice, or whatever that is, whatever journey, whatever happens on the journey. So thank you guys, and I hope you get your own book to begin your own journey, find your path. Untethered Soul, the journey beyond yourself. So thank you guys, and bye. I think because Antonio had me twisted the last week. He told me that, no, it'll be fine. Then I looked at the video and it was all twisted, but this week is not twisted. Okay, bye.